speaking to me quite a bit lately about the subject of joy. Joy is one of my life messages. It's really an important part of my life. But joy just doesn't happen, Joy actually is a choice that we make. And joy is something that you can actually bubble up and manufacture in your life. There are a couple of scriptures in the Bible that speak about joy that I really love. So I thought I'd share some of them with you. In Psalm 19, verse 8, the Bible says, "The precepts of the Lord are right, giving joy to the heart." It goes on further in that passage. It speaks about the precepts of the Lord, and it gives another illustration. It says, in verse 10, it says, "They are more precious than gold, than much pure gold. They are sweeter than honey from the comb." I love honey. Honey's kind of been a part of my life. My father was a great lover of honey. In fact, he kind of collected honey. Everywhere he went around the world, and he traveled quite a bit on business, he would often come home with honey from different countries. And so I've grown up really loving honey. But recently I found out something amazing. I found out that you can make honey. That you can actually make honey from things that you pass by every day on the road. So that's what I'm going to tell you about today. How to make honey and how to have joy. Towards the end of last year, the Lord spoke to me and said, "Nigel, you need to be more serious about your joy." And I remember laughing at him and thinking, "Oh Lord, you're kidding. Being more serious about joy." And then he reminded me that the joy of the Lord is our strength. So the beginning of joy and the beginning of Dandelion Honey comes down to two really important skills that you need to develop. One is to notice. You got to notice what's around your life. Sometimes you can just walk past the important things. Now, I'm going to give you an example of that. Here's my flower bed. Growing right in the center of the flower bed is a weed. And dandelion is generally seen as a weed. And there it grows right in the center of my flower bed. So, many times we just walk past things like, it's just a weed, it's just an arbitrary thing, and we don't stop and get the enjoyment out. So if the beginning of Dandelion Honey is noticing, and the beginning of joy is noticing, the second skill that's really important is appreciate. Appreciation has two meanings. Appreciation means to increase in value, and as well as to appreciate, getting the enjoyment out. And that's the beginning of joy, is that you learn the skill of increasing the value of the things in your life by stopping and noticing and just taking in the joy. So as you go through your day, as you're driving down the road and you notice a whole bunch of dandelions growing beside the road, don't just drive past. Just look at them. And if you want joy, you stop and you go, "Oh, wow, that's beautiful, beautiful flowers, beautiful things." And you literally appreciate it, you take it in. And if you're going to make dandelion honey, very important to remember, pick your dandelions while it's a beautiful, stunning day like it is today, full sun, and get them while the flowers are fully open. Joy is released into our lives when we notice what God has showered around, the beauty in our lives, and we stop and we appreciate it. Okay, come on, pop them in.
It's like picking flowers and then you get to eat them as well.
So, as you can see, we've got a whole bunch of flowers now. A lot of dandelions. In order to make dandelion honey, to really make it sweet, this is the difficult bit. This is the bit that's a bit of a pain. Is when you've got your flowers, you've got to separate out, take out the petals from the green bit, because the green bit makes your honey a little bit sour. But life's a bit like that sometimes. You've got to choose. You've got to choose to separate out the bitter from the sweet. And sometimes it's a little bit of work to do so. but in the end it makes it all the more worth it. Philippians 4 verse 4 says, "Rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again, rejoice." In verse 8 it continues, "Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things." When you are making dandelion honey, you have to choose to separate out the flowers from the bitter green part. When you want to have joy in your life, you need to separate out whatever is lovely, pure, noble, etc. in your life, and leave aside those things that are painful and hurtful, etc. Life is about making powerful choices. On to the next part, where we take all those petals, put them in a pot with a lemon that's been sliced, and add 4 cups of water, bring it to the boil, and when it's boiled away for about 10 minutes, we turn off the stove and let it cool. I boiled up the dandelion petals with a lemon for about 10 minutes, and now you just let the whole mixture just steep in the water for a couple of hours until it's come down to room temperature. Mixed in all the sugar into the dandelion tea kind of mix thing, and now you bring it to a boil and just let that simmer nicely away for about 2-3 hours, or until the mixture has become a bit thicker. So yeah, we are almost done. Just sanitizing my bottles, put them in the boiling water, and we pour in the last of this mix. Let's see. And there you have it.